the Mystery Mouse podcast. My name is Holly, and I'm coming to you from Colorado, where I live with my husband and our 5 kids and our many, many pets. And hi, it is the very end of September, the last few days of September 2022. And I have not recorded a podcast in so long. I hope I can remember what to do. But I have so much to talk to you about. I'm so excited. I have some shop news. I'm going to have a big shop update coming very soon. I have lots of whips, some things I want to start, an FO, which I think was still in progress, sort of just technically last time. So it's now done. I also have some other whips that I could have finished, but I wanted to show you in progress again. But that's all right. First of all, let me talk about what I'm wearing. I don't remember what this sweater is called. This is from a Vogue knitting magazine from probably a couple years ago. And I think I got it from the library. So if I can find it, I will, I'll put a link to it in the description box. But it's a very nice sweater. It's worsted weight, I think. I think it was written for worsted weight. And so it's just kind of it's kind of springy, but we're in that transitional season where it's not quite as hot as it was in the summer, but it's not really cool enough to be really fallish yet. It's so nice that it gets cold at night. I love that so much. So fall is my very, very favorite time of year, which I know many of us knitters feel that way about fall. I think for me too, my birthday's in the fall, so it always has that positive, like, yay, birthday kind of feel to it too. I'm drinking a decaf coffee because I'm actually recording kind of like in the evening. This is not a Beauty and the Beast mug, but it is a mug my dad got me for Christmas last year, and it's just an enormous bookcase. So he knows me. And it was funny because he got my husband a mug that said, yes, I really do need all these books. And then my husband got like 9 books for Christmas. It was like the vast majority of his presents were books. So let's start out with my FO. I have here the Flax Light I Knit for Grady out of Knitty McPurley's Independence Day mini skein set. And I love how this turned out. He's worn it several times. I mean, it's just now starting to get cool enough to really wear it, but he's worn it several times when, you know, we were out at night and it's just chilly, or it started raining, I think once, and I had this with me. So, and you know, I knit the 2 to 4 year old size. He's 16 months now. Can't believe he's growing up so big. But he's 16 months now, and this fits him really well. So either my gauge is off, or he's just a big boy. But I think I used a size 4, US size 4 needle, which I think is a 3.5 millimeter. I can never remember, but I think that's what it is. So anyway, this is my Flex Light though, and I really love it. It's just a great pattern. I know everybody's knit those. It's really quick, even though it's fingering weight, so that's nice. So that's my only FO, I think. I feel like I've done so much knitting since my last podcast. It's kind of like I can't remember what I did or what I didn't do. I have here in this little bag. This is a little Peter Rabbit bag I made for myself. Is it like a pouch, really? It was meant to be a notions pouch, but I stuck a sock project in here. And I also have a Columbo disc. I'm supposed to be watching through this with my brother. These are the movies from the 80s and 90s, the TV movies. I love Columbo so much. So much. I've watched through all of the Columbo shows from the, you know, the 70s, and probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. But I love Columbo. So anyway, I'm supposed to be watching through that with my brother. I was working on these socks. These are almost done. These are in my Poirot colorway. And I'm just doing a broken rib sock, so I didn't do it on the foot. But as you can see, there is no heel to this sock. It's just a tube. And so whenever I knit an afterthought heel sock, which is usually the way I knit my socks now, because then I don't have to stop. I can just stop the patterning on the leg and continue in a tube until I get to the toe. And it doesn't really also matter how long I knit things. I mean, I have to make the foot the right length, but you know what I mean. When I get tired of knitting, I can just stop. But then I always do both of them to the same point because I am one of those kind of knitters who doesn't do the same thing every time. Like sometimes when I'm putting a heel in, I'll do like 5 rounds before I start the decrease, and sometimes I'll do more. I kind of look at it and see like, is this a little short for my foot? And then I'll put an extra round in. So if I didn't do them together, I have 2 mismatched socks every time. So anyway, those are almost done. I just got to put the heel in, and I think I'm just going to use the same color for the heel because I almost always do contrasting heels, toes, and cuffs. And I think it would just be nice to have a plain pair of socks, dark green socks. This is one of my very favorite colors, so I am doing that. Let's go back in here. It really helps to show you guys things because then I feel like, oh, I have to finish that because I can't just leave it in limbo. Sometimes I do. Now I want to show you my beautiful Beauty and the Beast pullover by Megan Reagan from the Knitting with Disney book, which I have shown several times. I finally split for the sleeves and started Mrs. Potts. So, hold on, this is so convoluted. Here is the front. I put short rows in the back. There's no short rows in the pattern, but I try to put short rows in because I don't like my neck to be choking me. So as you can see, I finished Cogsworth, which I added his body, and I have Mrs. Potts started. And I am adjusting the chart for Mrs. Potts because she was roughly, in the pattern, she was roughly the same size as the teacup, which is fine. And she looked really good in the pattern, but she is my favorite Disney character of all time. She is, I don't know, the one I feel most akin to, I guess. I think it's just because she is such a motherly figure, and that must be how I see myself. So I wanted her to be a little more prominent. So I basically took the size of the repeat, which was much bigger than the actual teapot in the repeat. I can't show you because it's paid for pattern, but they basically had room for 2 teapots in their little repeat box, you know, in the pattern box. So I just kind of drew it with colored pencils and filled it in, tried it a few different ways. And it's always tricky with color work because you have to remember that it's going to be wider than it is tall. So you have to sort of elongate it. And then when you knit it, it looks proportional. So it's a little bit tricky. Hopefully I got it. If it doesn't look good, I will rip it out and do it again because this is very important to me. So that's coming along. And like I said, I split for the sleeves. So the rounds are much shorter now, which is really nice. And I have some plans, some tentative plans for the bottom of my sweater. In the pattern, there's like a rose, a repeat, and then there is just stockinette. Now, the stockinette in the round is very tempting, but I might do color work all the way down. So we'll see, because it does go past the arms, so it's not just a yoke. So I'm thinking about it. I have some ideas. That's my Beauty and the Beast pullover. The other thing that I am working on, that I've been working on for a while, is it's my bag from, what's it called? Stolen Minute, or Stolen Minutes? Stolen Minutes. This is a great bag also. And I am working on of course, I'm in the middle of a row. This red cable baby sweater by Debbie Bliss. This is in one of her magazines. I'm sure I showed it in a previous episode if you want to look it up. But I have now finished, this is the front. I have now finished the back, which looks just like this. and both of the sleeves, which are drop sleeves. So it's really interesting how little shaping there is, I think. Here is the, let's see if I can figure out, this is the top. So it's just a rectangle, and you do bind off a little bit early for the shoulders. They're like 1 row shorter than the neck. And so there's very little shaping, which is really nice when you're doing cables because you don't want to interrupt the pattern and be like, where do I cable? I have half a cable. It's weird. So that's nice. And the neck has a hood that I think, I don't know if you pick up and knit it or knit it separately and sew it on. Knowing Debbie Bliss, you knit it separately and sew it on, which is fine. I kind of enjoy knitting in pieces, especially for me, to be honest, because sometimes it's nice to knit a smaller piece and feel like you got something finished rather than have to do the whole body. It takes forever. So I'm just knitting this on size 4 needles. Is size 4? No, size 3. That's right. The ribbing and bottom edges are in size 2 needles, which seems so tiny. But these are very, it's a very tightly knit sweater, so I think it'll be a great jacket sweater for sure. So I'm really hoping to get that done soon because it's starting to be autumn and I would like him to be able to wear it as long as possible. I'm knitting the largest size, which is the 12 to 18 months size. And like I said, he's 16 months. But I think it'll fit him for a while. I've kind of held up the pieces against him and I think it'll fit him for a while. So still. Okay, my new cast on, well, that I cast on since I talked to you last, is my Knitty McPurley Facet Crop. And I had so much fun doing this. I mean, I'm still working on it, but I kind of stopped. I have kind of stopped so that I can show you. But the yoke went super fast. It was really fun because you have mosaic knitting, stranded color work, and bobbles going on, plus changing yarns. And then this texture section was really fun to knit. I really enjoyed knitting that. I can see myself knitting this again for my daughters, or knitting a Christmas one. Every time I knit one of these kind of short sleeve yoke sweaters, I'm like, then I should knit a Christmas one. I have yet to do that, but I wanted to do that when I knit the Soldatna crop too. So, but you know, you can never have too many red and green sweaters, right? You can wear them all the time. But I wanted to knit this sweater and I was like, what colors am I going to do? I don't know what colors to do. And then I thought to myself, well, Holly, you're a yarn dyer, so you could, you know, do whatever colors you want. You don't have to worry about what you have in your stash, which was kind of a new revelation to me. So I thought, okay, well, what is something that could inspire me? And I was thinking about Mrs. Potts. So, I mean, I don't think about Beauty and the Beast all the time. It's not like this is the only thing I do, but I've never had a Mrs. Potts inspired sweater, all of her own. So I thought, well, I'll just do Mrs. Potts colors. So I did her gold for her gold trim and purple because that's what's the main color on her little hat, her teapot lid, and her base. And then I did this speckle with pink and blue speckles. And I think it turned out really nice. And so I have 2 of these and 1 of each of the other colors. 1 of the gold and 1 of the purple. I think there's a little more color work down at the bottom. I just have to make sure it's long enough because I'm going to do it short, but not necessarily super cropped. So there's a little more color work at the bottom, but as you can see, I have lots of these left. And I have plenty of the speckle left because, like I said, I dyed 2 of those. I am alternating skeins. I know not everyone alternates skeins, but you know, this is such a speckled yarn, and whenever you have 2 speckled yarns, even if they are in the same pan, in the same dye lot, so to speak, I just feel like with a speckle, it's really easy for some speckles just to end up being a little heavier on one skein than the other, or even one section of the skein. And just to even it out, it's safer to alternate skeins. So I am doing helical knitting. And I was wondering if you guys do helical knitting. It's really easy. I think what I'll do is record myself, my hands doing the helical knitting, and then I can show you close up, because I think alternating skeins sometimes intimidates people, and helical knitting makes it so simple and so mindless. And what's really great about it is that it moves the beginning of your change around your whole entire sweater if you do it long enough, so that there is no line. There's no line where you switched. Like if you were to do it under your arm every time, if you looked carefully, you could see a little line where you're carrying the yarn up. And with helical knitting, you really can't see that. I mean, if you looked very, very hard and you knew where to look, maybe you'd be able to see where you change, but I don't think anyone is going to notice. And so I highly recommend that as an option if you've never alternated skeins. So I will pop that in right now so you can see. So my next ball of yarn starts in 5 stitches. I'm going to knit 2 more. So I've got 1, 2, and then the 3rd stitch has the new yarn on it. And then I'm just going to slip 1, 2, 3, and then the next stitch, just start knitting with the new ball of yarn. And that's all you have to do. And then the next round is going to be 3 stitches further back. You'll slip those and start, and then their next ball will start back here, and so on and so forth. And so see, you cannot see the line of where I changed. Anyway, that is my faucet crop, and as you can see, it's almost done. I just got to do the color work at the bottom, and there's a little sleeve like cuff, which I will do in the gold, and then that will be all done, and I will block it and wear it. I'm really excited to wear it. You know what I want to wear this with? In my dreams, there is this super flowy long, like pleated skirt. That's what I would love to wear this with. So I don't have anything like that, so we'll see if I can make that happen, but that would be my dream. So I think that's all of my knitting whips. I have been working on my crocheted granny stripe blanket. I've got a few more stripes in that, and I also have been working on my crocheted granny square blanket. Well, it's just square so far, but that I was doing with my advent calendar that I bought the last 2 years. I bought an advent calendar from Southern Storytime. I bought my advent calendar the last 2 years from Southern Storytime on Etsy, and I really liked it. It was just a 12-day and big skein advent calendar. And so I'm making a little granny square blanket with black around the minis for those 2 years, and it's going really well. It's really nice, mindless, late night, end of the night project. So that's what I'm doing there. I wanted to talk to you about some dream knitting. Oh, I thought I would show you this. This is a whip of shame. And by that, I don't mean that I'm ashamed that it's not finished, but I am feeling like, oh, it's a shame. It's just a shame that this isn't done. This is an old cross stitch. I started this cross stitch before my kids were born. Because before my kids were born, I was a cross stitcher. And this is called Frederick the Literate by Charles Wysocki is the name of the picture. And then of course, I think this is from Dimensions, this kit. So I think if you look up Frederick the Literate, you can find it. His face looks kind of funny because I haven't done the back stitch yet. So he looks kind of like a, I don't know, Something's missing. But I have been working on this lately. As you can see, I've got this top shelf done, and I'm working on the bottom shelf, and I've been working on this burgundy book here. Several times over the last few days I've worked on it. So I think I have a lot of black. Like there's a lot of black in this cat, the stripes, and even in the bookcase there's some black that I haven't done yet because I just couldn't bring myself to do it, but I will do it before it's done. But I would love to hang this up in here. As you can see, I love bookcases, as you might remember from my comic. So my needle is just hanging off the end. I have a needle minder I should put in this. So I'm showing you this in the hopes that it will spur me on. So you can feel free in the comments to be like, hey, what happened to that cross stitch? Are you going to finish that? And then I'll be like, oh yeah. And then I'll work on it. So that is that. I have several other cross stitch things that are abandoned from when I started knitting, because I don't know, knitting takes over. It just does. That's the nature of the beast. I have a little dream knitting that I wanted to talk to you about before I get into other things. A lot of my dream knitting, well, sometimes it's like, I would like to knit this pattern, whatever. A lot of times it's just, I want to use this yarn. I want to use this yarn. So I bought this yarn on vacation last year. I have two of these. This is called Mushishi by Plymouth Yarns, 95% wool, 5% silk. And I think it's a worsted weight. And it is so beautiful. It's kind of color changey and tweedy. And like I said, I have two of these. Now the lady at the yarn shop I bought this from was very nice. And I was like, how many will I need of these? Because these things are huge. They're 250 grams. So it's like 2.5 skeins of yarn. Or yeah, 2.5 skeins. I have two of them. She said, it looks like you're going to need 3. And I was like, I just couldn't buy 3. I couldn't do it. They were $40 each. And that was like, that's a lot of money for yarn on vacation, you know. So I just got 2. And I said, well, I'll do something else. So I got this from Knit Picks. Oh, great. It's coming apart. I got 2 of these because this is sort of one of those, I don't know if this is, I don't know. It looks like it's plied, but the plies are all going the same direction. You know what I mean? So there's barber pole plying going on, but it looks very much like almost like a Noro yarn to me. So I wanted to get something that was similar in construction. So I went to Knit Picks and I got 2 of these Bare Muse, which is Aran weight, and it's a single ply. So I have 2 of those and 2 of the Mushishi. So I would like to make some sort of color work yoke sweater. There are so many color work sweaters out there. It's a little overwhelming if you don't want to wade through 1,000 patterns. So what I'd really like is a 2-color work sweater where the top is mostly white and then it sort of changes over into the colored one. You know what I mean? Like there can be a little color work, but I'd kind of like it to be like white, color work, Mushishi with a little white, and then Mushishi. So I don't know. If you have any ideas, let me know in the comments. I would love to know. And it's, like I said, it's a worsted weight. But I just think that would be such a cozy and pretty winter kind of sweater. It seems very snowflakey, blizzardy, probably because of the white nips. And I have, oh great, what did I do with that yarn? What happened to that? Oh, and that it's just in a bag that one of my friends made for me. She doesn't have a shop or anything, but I love this fabric. Okay, so I think I am ready to talk about shop news or book talk. Okay, so I think I'm ready to talk about books. I have a knitting book that my friend Elizabeth bought for me. My hair is just everywhere today. Look at this. She said to me, I just bought this for the nostalgia factor. And I was like, what? I'm totally knitting something out of here. This is the Beatrix Potter knitting book by Pat Mancini. This is published by F. Warren and Company, the publishers of Beatrix Potter. It's the pictures are taken on, some of them are taken on Hilltop Farm where Beatrix Potter lived. This is an amazing book. Now, as you might guess, this is kind of a vintagey book. This was published in 1987. And when you see the models, you will believe it. But what I cannot believe about this book is the sheer amount of sample knitting that went into it. Look at this. They did not just knit one set of this Peter Rabbit sweater and accessories. They knit 3 sets, 3 sweaters, 3 hats, 3 scarves, 3 pairs of mittens, 3 pairs of leg warmers, just for that photo. This is adorable. Look, Mrs. Tiggy Winkle. The color work charts in this are amazing. There's lots of intarsia. There is, oh, so many cute things. This is insane. Look at this, Jeremy Fisher. It's all 3D. Jeremy Fisher sweater. His legs dangle. There's like, oh, there's so many. I gotta show you my favorites. There's some really fancy stuff in here. There's just cutesy stuff. Look at this Tom Kitten sweater. This little boy cracks me up. He's so cute. Look at the Tom Kitten's eyes. He looks insane. I mean, that's how the illustration looks, but knitting, it's a little creepy. Oh, there's so many cute things. There's blankets. Look at this. There is a latch hook rug. I think that is an amazing thing to find in a knitting book, a latch hook rug. And it looks really good. It looks quite big. This one I think is adorable. Look, knitted sweater, the tam o' shanter, and knitted pants. And they did 2 of them. So they could be together. Just cracks me up. There's a christening dress. There's squirrel nutkin. There's these beautiful lacy shirts, which I think actually are like coming back in fashion. And I am very tempted to make one of those. Yes, Toby. Okay, hurry up. They have mother-daughter sets. And they're not all color work. Some of them are just textured. Look at this landscape sweater. So this book has so many patterns in it. I mean, a book nowadays, I just don't feel like it would have this many. I mean, some books do, obviously, especially if it's a collection with different designers in it. But this book is all Pat Mancini, and this was a labor of love. She said she always wanted to do something Beatrix Potter related. This sweater is beautiful, and I am seriously thinking about using this chart on my Beauty and the Beast sweater. This trellis chart, seriously thinking about it. Then they take that same chart and they have cushions, 3 different kinds of cushions. They have a needlepoint fire screen and a rug. There's this father, son. Look how handsome they are. Badgers. It just makes me happy. And then this owl, I think he looks really good, actually. I love how he kind of fades into the bottom. He just speckles into existence. So, my friend bought this on Thrift Book for a few dollars. The Beatrix Potter Knitting Book. If you're interested in any of these patterns, I would highly recommend it because there is so much knitting in here. And even if you just take a chart or, you know, do part of a garment, you don't have to knit 6 leg warmers if you don't want to, but I think this is a really, really cool book. So, all right. Now, what have I been reading? I have been reading to my girls, Tum Tum and Nutmeg. Dun, dun, dun. Yes, we bought this book, and the first 3 books are in this book, and then there is another set of 3 we also got. We read the first story, we really liked it, and I'm reading to them before they go to bed. We're on the second one now and enjoying it immensely. So thank you to everyone who said, oh yes, Tum Tum and Nutmeg, that's a great series, because we're really enjoying it, and I had never even heard of it before. So that is what I'm reading with Ivy and Mary. I have been reading 2 books. A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. This is one of my summer reading books, which is bleeding over into the fall, sadly. But I am most of the way through this. I think I've got about, I don't know, I'm here. And I read this, the first 2/3 of this book, I read so quickly. And it was funny because I was driving around, and you know when you're really into a book and it seems like that's the real world and this world is not real? I had that feeling, and it was really creepy when I was driving around one time. And what really fascinates me about this book is how it does not feel old. It feels current because of just the state of our world. Sometimes it feels kind of like that upheaval that there was during the French Revolution and the violence, and that was creepy to me. There was a little feeling of history repeating itself. And I think Charles Dickens had some really interesting observations. And that's what I love about old books. These authors, they don't just write down a story. I don't know how to explain it. They also philosophize about it a little bit. And it just helps you, I think, helps me, since this is not my current time, to get into it and kind of to understand their perspective at the time. So anyway, I'm really enjoying that. I need to finish it because I've been taking a break because I feel like something bad is going to happen, and that always stops me in my tracks. So what I've been reading while I'm taking a break from that is the current Christopher Fowler book, which I've talked to you about. Christopher Fowler before. Is one of the very few current authors that I read. This is one's called London Bridge is Falling Down. And it's really interesting. It's got some, it's set in modern times, but it's got some ties to World War II and the Cold War and some codebreaker stuff. And it's very good so far. So I am also about 2/3 of the way through this one. So let's see. Is that all I'm reading right now? I got the books. Dun, 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 dun. Yes. So now I'm going to talk about my shop update. I will be having a big fall shop update. I'm super excited. On October 1st at 12 p.m. Eastern. So that's 10 o'clock my time here in Colorado, in case you wondered. So I will be having a big fall shop update on Saturday, October 1st at 12 p.m. Eastern. And I have 2 different collections I'm putting out, so I'm very excited. First of all, October is my birthday month, and I started my podcast last year in October, so I wanted to do something special to commemorate having my podcast for a year, also my birthday, and I was very inspired by Haley of Sweet Sequels. I bought this print from her because I just loved it. And it says, I'm so glad I live in a world where there are Octobers. And that's a quote from L.M. Montgomery. This is a quote from Anne of Green Gables, which is like a great book. And one that I want to reread very soon because I haven't read it in a long time. So I was very inspired by this piece of art, and I dyed some yarn too much. So this is my October colorway, and I have this on several bases. This is just my 75-25 superwash nylon sock base. So this would be perfect sock yarn, shawl yarn, anything for fingering weight. I've also dyed it on DK. DK is it looks so good. I think this would be the cutest hat or baby sweater. And I'm so excited about this. I have for the first time, let's get some stuff. For the first time, I have silk mohair. And I love how this turned out on silk mohair. It's so fluffy. And I have plans for this. I think I might be casting on another Knitty McPurley sweater. She has a design that's in testing right now that I think is DK and mohair held together. I think it's DK. Well, whatever. But I'm thinking about using a plain yarn, like just undyed, and using this for my mohair. I think that would be so cool because it would be subtle, but you would see those colors peeking through. And so that I'm really excited about that. I'm just excited to be dyeing mohair. I've never even bought indie dyed mohair. I've only had commercial dyed mohair. So I'm really excited about that. I also have a mini skein set with the 5 colors. October mini skein set. This would be the cutest baby hat or sweater on earth. Stripy or stripy socks. I can imagine this being like the cutest stripy socks ever. So, as a special thank you for all of my viewers and customers, the first 20 orders of any of the October color bases, the first 20 people who order my October colorway will get a free mini print from Haley of Sweet Sequels. And it's so cute, so cute. So I hope that you will take advantage of that and get this beautiful piece of art for yourself along with some yarn. And you can remember, I'm so glad I live in a world where there are Octobers. That is how I feel too. Now I have a very exciting collection to share with you, and my son Toby is actually going to come and help me do that. So, hi Toby.
Hey Mom.
So, Toby is helping me today because we are doing a collection of one of his very favorite book series, Redwall. So Toby, why don't you tell us what you like about Redwall?
Well, there's mice, and I like mice, and there's swords, and I like swords.
There you have it, folks. Mice and swords.
And there's rats.
Well, I think the Redwall series made you into a reader. Because before that, I think, you're like, oh, chapter books. And
I still liked reading.
Right, you did. But Redwall was definitely the most ambitious book you ever did, don't you think?
I mean, he's how old was I? 10-year-old?
Yeah, it's
like a 10-year-old who's used to reading books this thick, and they're this thick. And now it's like, I was looking through the bookshelf and I'm like, this is what I want to read.
Yes. And the folks, That's also why you should have tons of books, because you never know when your kids are going to be like, yes, I'm ready to read a giant book. So we are going to have 3 sock sets. The first one is called Redwall. And Toby is very concerned that all of the minis also have a meaning. So do you remember what this meaning is for the mini skein, Toby?
The sparrows.
Yes, the sparrows that live in the top of the abbey, right?
Yes.
Is it Redwall Abbey?
Yeah.
So, and of course, this is the red of the red wall. It's like a brick red. And I think it's really turned out nice. It's got a lot of depth. So this is our first sock set, Redwall. We also have Moss Flower. Here is our Moss Flower colorway. I really like how this one turned out with the book. And I did a yellow mini skein because I wanted to. Do you have any ideas what the yellow mini skein could represent?
Yellow.
The yellow mini skein, it very meaningfully represents the sun shining down on the mice. Okay.
Huh? But the entire book is cloudy and sad. Well, not as cloudy and sad as Madame Mayo. But that one's sad.
Maybe
and cloudy.
they need some sunshine.
It is very sunny when the castle gets... no spoilers.
Oh, we almost had a spoiler. Okay.
Spoiler warning.
Well, anyway, so this is the Moss Flower sock set.
And then we are amassing an army of Brian Jakes to go claim world dominance or something.
Okay. And then this set is also from Moss Flower. This is something Toby specifically requested. What is the name of this one, Toby?
Well, the green one is Ferdy and Cogs. It's like green and blue. But it's Ferdy and Cogs, and they're the little hedgehog porcupine things that, like, are babies.
Oh.
And they're cute.
And they have to go in the dungeon, right?
Yeah.
And so there is a dungeon pond monster of some sort, right?
Yeah.
So this is the dungeon pond monster.
And yes, there are spoilers in this one, so if you haven't read the book, don't watch this or the rest of it until you've read all of them.
Oh,
Which will be the rest of your life.
Yeah, pretty much.
But
so this is Ferdy and Cogs. I think that one turned out really nice. And then we have the Redwall Characters Mini Skein set. This is Cornflower, Matthias, Basil.
It's Basil.
I think it's Basil. I used to always say Basil Rathbone when I was growing up, but I think it's Basil. This is Clooney the Scourge.
I think we did a little overboard on the red on that one.
And this is one of Toby's very favorite characters.
It's Constance. She's a badger. And she's really strong. And all the badgers are my favorites. But she's like the only one in like the... like Redwall, the first book, and the second book. Well, the second book. Depends if we're speaking like in the order they were written or chronologically. Because Madame Mayo is the chronologically second book. But the second book that was written is Moss Flower.
But the point is, you like Constance.
Yeah.
And Toby just got a hamster, which he has wanted a hamster for a long time.
30 years.
You're not 30 years old. But he has wanted a hamster for a long time. He finally got a hamster. And what did you name her?
Constance.
Named her Constance after the
She
badger.
doesn't really look like anything like a badger. Constance is like this big, and then she's like this big, and then she's like strong, and then she's like this big.
Say bye to the nice people.
Bye, nice people.
I've disappeared. Please be sure to check out the shop update on October 1st, Saturday, 12 p.m. And don't forget, the first 20 people that order the October colorway will get a mini print of this beautiful painting. And As far as life stuff goes, we have been very busy. That's why I haven't recorded. We have started homeschooling again for the fall. Our co-op started up again for the fall. And my co-op class we're doing a musical of A Christmas Carol. And so that has been taking up a lot of my brain space and my energy. We also got chickens, which have been keeping us really busy. And we got a new kitten. Okay, so thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.